Have you ever experienced something so terrifying it still haunts your dreams? Cyrus Kade thought he'd seen it all, until he stepped into the infamous Amityville house. Now, he's trapped in an endless nightmare, reliving horrors beyond imagination. But we want to hear your story. Have you encountered the unexplained? Witnessed something that defies logic? Share your most bone-chilling experiences in the comments below. Your story could be featured in our next video, joining Cyrus in the realm of the truly terrifying. Don't keep your fears to yourself. Let's uncover the darkness together. Shadows of Amityville, the truth behind the horror. I'm Cyrus Kade, a freelance investigative reporter based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. My work often takes me down dark alleys and into the shadows, where the truth is as elusive as a ghost. Tonight, I'm going to take you on a journey to one of the most infamous haunted houses in America, the Amityville Horror. But this isn't just a retelling of a classic tale. It's a dive into the unknown, where the lines between reality and nightmare are blurred. It was a chilly autumn evening when I received the call. The kind of call that makes your skin crawl before you even pick up the phone. It was from an old acquaintance, a local journalist who had been following a lead on a mysterious occurrence in Amityville. He spoke in hushed tones, as if the walls were listening. "Cyrus, I need your help. There's something going on in Amityville that I think you should look into. People are talking about strange noises, movements, and sightings. It's not just the usual ghost stories. This feels different." I've always had a fascination with the supernatural, and Amityville was the holy grail of haunted houses. The DeFeo murders, the Lutz family's terrifying experiences, these were the stories that had captivated the nation. But there was something more to this, something that my friend wasn't telling me over the phone. The drive to Amityville was long and uneventful, but my mind was racing with possibilities. What could be causing these disturbances? Was it a hoax? Or was there something genuinely sinister at play? As I arrived in the quiet suburban town, the atmosphere felt heavy, like a storm was brewing. I checked into a local motel, a place that seemed frozen in time. The owner, a gruff but kind man named Joe, warned me about the house. "You're not planning on going near that place, are you? Folks around here don't talk about it much. They say it's cursed." I smiled, trying to reassure him. "Just doing some research, Joe. Don't worry. I'll be fine." But as I walked towards the infamous house, a chill ran down my spine. It was as if I was being watched, not just by the house itself, but by something lurking in the shadows. The house loomed before me, its windows like empty eyes staring back. I took a deep breath and stepped inside. The interior was musty and decaying, a stark contrast to the well-manicured lawn outside. I began to explore, room by room, searching for any signs of what might be causing the disturbances. As I moved through the house, I started to feel a presence around me. It was subtle at first, a faint whisper in my ear, but it grew louder, more urgent. I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But then, I heard it. A loud bang from upstairs. My heart racing, I crept up the stairs, my flashlight casting eerie shadows on the walls. The room was empty, but I could sense that I wasn't alone. I decided to spend the night in the house, hoping to catch some evidence of the paranormal activity. As night fell, the house seemed to come alive. Creaks and groans echoed through the halls, and I could swear I saw movement out of the corner of my eye. I set up my equipment, cameras and recorders, hoping to capture something concrete. But as the hours passed, the occurrences grew more intense. Doors slammed shut on their own, and I heard footsteps, heavy and deliberate, coming from the floor above. Suddenly, my recorder sprang to life, capturing a voice, low and menacing. "Get out while you still can." I spun around, but there was no one there. The voice seemed to come from all around me, echoing off the walls. The next morning, I reviewed my footage and recordings. The voice on the tape sent shivers down my spine. It was real. I wasn't imagining things. But what was it? A ghost? A demon? Or something else entirely? As I delved deeper into the house's history, I stumbled upon an old diary belonging to one of the previous occupants. The entry spoke of a dark ritual performed in the basement, a ritual that had unleashed a malevolent entity into the world. I knew I had to investigate further. The basement was my next stop. The basement was cold and damp, the air thick with the scent of decay. I fumbled for my flashlight and began to explore. The walls were covered in strange symbols etched into the concrete. They seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died. I was plunged into darkness, surrounded by an oppressive silence. And then, I heard it. A low, ominous chuckle coming from the depths of the basement. I tried to run, but my feet felt rooted to the spot. The chuckle grew louder, closer, until I could feel hot breath on the back of my neck. I stumbled back to my motel room, shaken. What I had experienced in that basement was beyond anything I could explain. I tried to sleep, but my mind was racing. The symbols, the voice, the presence, it all seemed to be closing in on me. As the night wore on, I began to feel a creeping sense of madness. The lines between reality and nightmare were blurring. I saw things moving in the shadows, heard whispers in my ear. And then, I received another call. This time, it was from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was familiar, yet strange. "Cyrus, you shouldn't have come here. Now you'll never leave." I knew I had to confront whatever was happening head on. I packed my bags and returned to the house, determined to uncover the truth. As I entered the house, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. It was as if I had finally accepted my fate. I walked through the rooms, calling out into the darkness, "I know you're here. Show yourself." The response was immediate. The lights flickered, and the air seemed to vibrate with energy. And then I saw it. A figure, tall and imposing, standing in the doorway. It was me. Or rather, it was a version of me, twisted and distorted. The figure began to speak, its voice my own, yet not my own. "You've been here all along, Cyrus. You're the one who's been haunting this house." I stumbled backward, my mind reeling. What did it mean? Was I somehow connected to the house, to the entity that dwelled within its walls? As I looked deeper into the figure's eyes, I saw something that made my blood run cold. A reflection not of myself, but of all the people who had ever lived in that house. The DeFeos, the Lutzes, they were all there, trapped in a cycle of horror and madness. And then, it hit me. The truth was not about ghosts or demons. It was about us. We are the monsters, trapped in our own nightmares, reliving the same horrors over and over. The figure began to laugh, a sound that was both familiar and terrifying. It was my own laughter, echoing back at me from the depths of my own sanity. Years have passed since my encounter with the house, but the legend of Amityville lives on, a cautionary tale about the dangers of meddling with forces beyond our understanding. And yet, people still flock to the house, hoping to catch a glimpse of the paranormal activity that has made it infamous. They come with cameras and recorders, seeking to capture evidence of the supernatural, but few return with their sanity intact. The house seems to have a way of drawing people in, of tempting them with its dark allure. It's as if it feeds on fear, growing stronger with each new victim. I've heard stories of those who have ventured too close, only to be consumed by the very horrors they sought to uncover. They speak of strange visions and nightmares, of being haunted by the ghosts of Amityville. But there's one story that stands out above the rest. A story of a young couple who decided to spend a night in the house, hoping to prove that the legends were nothing more than mere fantasy. They set up their equipment, ready to capture any evidence of paranormal activity, but as the night wore on, they began to feel a presence around them. It started with small things, doors creaking open, objects moving on their own. But then the occurrences grew more intense. They heard footsteps, heavy and deliberate, coming from the floor above, and then they saw it. A figure, tall and imposing, standing in the doorway. The couple tried to flee, but it was too late. The house had them in its grasp, and it would not let go. The next morning, police found their car parked outside the house, but there was no sign of the couple. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. Some say they're still trapped in the house, reliving the same horrors over and over. Others claim to have seen them, wandering the halls, forever trapped in a cycle of fear. But I know the truth. The house is not just a place of horror. It's a portal to another dimension, a dimension where the living are not welcome. And if you're listening to this, know that you're not safe. The house is always watching, waiting for its next victim. This is Cyrus Kade, and I'm warning you, stay away from Amityville. Don't be tempted by its dark allure. The house is a monster, and it will consume you whole. I've seen things that no man should ever see. I've heard voices that will haunt me for the rest of my days. And I've felt the presence of something ancient and evil. But most of all, I've learned that some secrets are better left unspoken. Some mysteries are too great for human minds to comprehend. So if you value your sanity, stay away from Amityville. Don't go near the house. Don't even think about it, because once you do, there's no turning back. This is Cyrus Kade, signing off for the last time. I hope that my story will serve as a warning to those who would dare to tempt the darkness. But as I look around me, I realize that it may already be too late. The shadows are closing in, and I can feel the presence of the house all around me. I'm trapped, and I know that I'll never escape. The last thing I hear is the sound of my own voice, whispering in the darkness. Get out while you still can. And then, everything goes black. Years have passed since my final transmission. The world has moved on, but the legend of Amityville lives on. People still whisper about the house, about the horrors that lurk within its walls. And some say that on certain nights, when the moon is full and the wind is blowing strong, you can still hear my voice, whispering in the darkness. Get out while you still can. But it's too late. The house has already claimed its next victim. And as you listen to these words, you might just realize that you're the next one on its list. The end. Or is it?
Thanks for joining us in the shadows tonight. If you enjoyed these chilling tales, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories every week. Have you got a story of your own? Share it in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And remember, the darkness holds many secrets. Are you brave enough to uncover them? Until next time, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Sweet nightmares.